There is a moment in every human life when the noise of obligation becomes unbearable. It comes quietly at first, in the way your body tenses when your phone vibrates, in the forced smile you wear at a dinner you didn't want to attend, in the sigh that escapes when someone thanks you for being so reliable. It's the sound of a soul that has been trained to confuse love with compliance. The world tells you that to be good is to obey, that to be loved is to please, that to be worthy is to meet expectation. But none of this is true. The universe, in all its infinite beauty and balance, requires nothing of you. It is strange how long we live believing the opposite. We think the sky expects us to be productive. We think God watches our schedules with disappointment. We think our friends' comfort matters more than our inner peace. But if you look closely, you'll see that not once has the sun risen because you deserved it. It rises because that is its nature. And in the same way, your existence is not an obligation, it's an expression. The tree does not earn its right to stand. The wave does not justify its movement. And you, in your quiet being, owe no one your exhaustion. This realization doesn't make you selfish. It makes you sane. Because if you look at how resentment is born, you'll notice it always begins with a should. I should go. I should help. I should stay. Every should is a quiet betrayal of your own truth. We think we're being kind, but we're often just being afraid of judgment, of rejection, of being seen as less caring. Yet the more we obey fear, the less capable we become of love. The heart cannot give freely when it is busy keeping score. You've probably felt it, that quiet bitterness that lingers after doing something you didn't want to do. You told yourself it was kindness, but later it felt like theft. You gave away time that wasn't truly offered. You lent your energy while secretly hoping someone would notice your sacrifice. And when they didn't, it hurt. That hurt is the cost of inauthentic living. It's the universe whispering, you agreed to this. Because no one can truly demand anything of you without your consent. Even when you say yes from pressure, that yes is still yours. Think about how absurd it is. We call ourselves victims of obligation, yet we hold the key to every door we've entered. When someone manipulates us with guilt, we say they made us do it. But what actually happens is subtler. They offered the guilt and we accepted it. They offered the fear and we believed it. It's not their power that binds us. It's our belief in their power. Every bribe, every threat, every expectation only works if we agree to its terms. The moment we withdraw that agreement, we become untouchable. That's why freedom doesn't come from rebellion, it comes from clarity. Rebellion says, I won't obey you. Clarity says, you never had authority. They look similar, but one is noise and the other is silence. True freedom is not dramatic, it's peaceful. It's the quiet confidence of someone who no longer argues with life, because they've realized the truth. The universe runs perfectly fine without their anxiety. The stars do not consult your to-do list before shining. And yet, most of our suffering is self-manufactured, not from physical hardship but from imaginary duties. We delay joy until we've finished earning everyone's approval. We postpone peace until every loose end is tied. We say, once I make them proud, once I fix this relationship, once I prove my worth. But those finish lines don't exist. They move further every time you chase them. Because approval is not a destination, it's a dependency. And no one who lives for approval ever arrives home. Have you noticed how obligation poisons love? We say we act from care, but inside, something dark forms, the feeling of being used. You do the favor. You attend the event. You meet the demand. But afterward, you find yourself secretly counting who thanked me, who noticed, who returned the favor. That arithmetic of resentment is what turns love into a transaction. Real love asks for nothing. It flows naturally from authenticity. The moment you act from obligation, The act stops being love and becomes debt. This is why so many relationships decay even among kind people. We disguise obligation as kindness until it sours. Parents, partners, friends, all of them trying to love while shackled by expectation. I did this for you, why won't you do this for me? But that's not love, that's accounting. It's the social contract we were taught to honor, a strange agreement that says, I'll be miserable for you so you'll be miserable for me. And when someone breaks that pattern, when they dare to choose peace over performance, the world calls them selfish. But they are not selfish, they are free. Freedom has always been threatening to those who remain imprisoned by guilt. When you stop playing the game of expectation, people panic. They'll accuse you of coldness, detachment, even arrogance. But look closer. What they fear isn't your absence. They fear their own reflection, the awareness that they too could stop pretending. Because if one person can walk away from false duty, then everyone could. The illusion only survives when everyone agrees to keep it alive. And yes, there is pain in that awakening. The first breath of freedom often tastes like loneliness. You'll disappoint some. You'll lose others. There will be whispers. Who does he think he is? She's changed. But change is exactly what life demands, not as an obligation, but as its natural rhythm. The seasons don't ask for permission to turn. The tree doesn't apologize for shedding leaves. Why should you apologize for outgrowing an old version of yourself? The truth is, obligation belongs to the ego, not the soul. The ego says, I must earn love. The soul says, I am love. The ego bargains with others. The soul communes with truth. When you live from obligation, you live as a beggar. When you live from authenticity, you live as a giver, not because you owe, but because you overflow. Real generosity begins only when you are no longer trying to prove anything. And here's the cosmic irony. When you stop doing things out of duty, your actions become purer. The same friend you once visited out of guilt, when you visit them now, it's real. The same work you once resented, when you choose it freely, it becomes art. Love without freedom is performance, but love with freedom is creation. That's why the universe, in its infinite intelligence, imposes no laws of emotional labor. The stars, the rivers, the winds, they don't demand your participation. They invite it. The invitation of existence is simple. Be. Not be good, not be productive, not be liked, just be. And from that being, whatever arises naturally is divine. Maybe you'll help someone. Maybe you'll rest. Maybe you'll create something no one understands. It doesn't matter. The universe is not grading you. It is experiencing itself through you. Every breath you take is the universe saying, I am still here. Nothing more is needed. Once you see this, even your idea of God transforms. You realize that God, if that word means anything at all, is not a cosmic authority issuing requirements. God is the field in which all things are allowed. A love so vast it demands nothing because it lacks nothing. To say God requires nothing of you is not nihilism, it is reverence. Because what greater act of love could there be than complete freedom? Look at the natural world. Does the ocean criticize the shore for eroding? Does the sun resent the cloud that blocks its light? Existence simply allows. Every form comes and goes, yet nothing is lost. That is the divine order, not control, but harmony. And when you live in harmony with that, you stop trying to manage other people's perceptions. You realize that being misunderstood is not a problem. It's just weather passing through your sky. There will come a time when you look around and see that everything you resented was self-chosen. Every burden was picked up by your own hands. Every, I have to, was really I choose to. That's the doorway to peace. Because once you see that, you also see your power, the quiet, sovereign authority to stop choosing what drains you. You don't need permission to rest. You don't need validation to say no. You only need to remember that your life belongs to no one but you. And then something beautiful happens. The world softens. You start meeting people who no longer demand from you because your energy no longer invites demand. You start hearing silence where there used to be noise. You wake up one morning and realize that the universe has never once pressured you. It was only your mind, echoing the voices of others. And in that stillness, gratitude arises. Gratitude not for what you have done, but for what you no longer need to do. When you reach that stillness, even your relationships begin to shift. You stop needing others to understand you. You stop needing them to approve. You begin to love them without transaction because you no longer use them as mirrors of your own insecurity. Love becomes something sacred again, not an exchange, but a recognition. When you walk into a room, your presence no longer says, "What do you need from me?" It says, "I am here freely." And that energy heals far more than any act of forced kindness ever could. There's a quiet dignity in living without obligation. You no longer over-explain your absence or justify your peace. You show up where you are truly moved to show up, and your presence carries power because it's rare and real. People begin to feel it too. Some will resist it at first. They'll project guilt, the old language of control. But if you stay rooted in awareness, their guilt will dissolve against your calm. Because nothing can manipulate a heart that's no longer bargaining for worthiness. And one day you'll look back at the old you, the one who said yes to everything, and you'll see someone noble but confused. They meant well. They just didn't know the difference between kindness and compliance. But you'll also smile because without that phase, you couldn't have learned this piece. The path to sovereignty always passes through servitude. It's how the soul learns the value of choice. We exhaust ourselves trying to please the world until finally, we realize the only one waiting for our permission is us. When you stop chasing obligation, you rediscover wonder. The same world that once felt heavy becomes radiant again. The sky seems wider. Music feels alive. Time slows down. You realize that the universe never required your performance. It only wanted your attention. Every moment becomes an act of communion, not productivity. And suddenly, even the smallest things, sunlight through leaves, a stranger's smile, the sound of rain, feel like answers to prayers you never knew you asked. This is the beginning of real spirituality. Not rules, not striving, but awareness. Awareness that life itself is the prayer, and you are the response. You don't need to achieve enlightenment. You only need to stop resisting the light that's already here. When you drop the burden of "I must," you uncover the beauty of "I am." From there, everything flows naturally. Action becomes effortless because it's aligned with being, not with pressure. That is what ancient sages meant by non-doing. It's not laziness, it's harmony. And perhaps this is what the phrase truly means. The universe requires nothing of you. It doesn't mean you should sit idle or ignore your life. It means that your worth is unconditional. Nothing you do can add or subtract from what you already are. You are not here to meet cosmic quotas. You are here to express consciousness in its infinite forms: joy, curiosity, creation, silence. You are not being watched or judged. You are being lived. Imagine, for a moment, what the world would look like if everyone understood this. No one manipulating through guilt. No one pretending to please. No one trapped in invisible contracts of should. People doing what they genuinely love, helping because they want to, creating because they're inspired, resting because they need to. A civilization without coercion, not lawless but luminous. That is not a fantasy. It's the natural state of awareness. The moment you stop demanding of others what you refuse to demand of yourself, harmony begins to ripple outward. The great masters hinted at this. Jesus said the lilies of the field neither toil nor spin, yet they are adorned in beauty greater than kings. Lao Tzu spoke of the Tao that does nothing yet leaves nothing undone. Even modern physics whispers the same truth, that the universe is self-organizing, needing no external enforcement. Everywhere, reality affirms this silent principle. Existence sustains itself through effortless intelligence. You are part of that intelligence. The anxiety of having to is an illusion built by culture, not nature. So next time you feel the tug of obligation, pause, ask yourself, what would happen if I did? Usually the answer is nothing catastrophic, only discomfort, the kind that comes from breaking old conditioning. Let that discomfort teach you. It's not punishment, it's detox. The body of your psyche releasing lifetimes of inherited guilt. If you stay with it, something incredible happens. Peace becomes your default state, not your reward. And from that peace, everything worthwhile begins. Freedom, you see, isn't earned. It's remembered. You were born free before language told you who to be, before family told you what to do, before society told you how to perform. The rest of life is just the gradual unlearning of that noise. When the noise fades, what remains is astonishingly simple: awareness, breath, presence. The universe has been whispering it all along, not do this, but be this. And the this is whatever you truly are without disguise. So breathe. Let go of the heavy mantle of duty that was never yours. Let the people who misunderstand you do so. Their confusion is part of their journey. You are not responsible for their awakening. You are responsible only for your honesty. Live so that every act comes from truth, not tension. Speak when moved, stay silent when at peace, act when inspired, rest when tired. That's all. That's alignment. That's divine order without coercion. In the end, the universe doesn't measure you by achievement, effort, or compliance. It measures nothing at all. It only mirrors what you are being. When you are at ease, life reflects ease. When you are in resistance, life mirrors resistance. The law is simple, as within, so without. That's not a command, it's a resonance. You are not being tested, you are being tuned. So live without fear of failing requirements that never existed. You are not here to prove your worth. You are here to experience it. Every star, every atom, every breath is evidence that existence already said yes to you. And that yes is eternal. The universe requires nothing because you are already everything it requires. And that is freedom.